I couldn't be more excited about today. We have an amazing agenda for the entire day. So on behalf of myself and 200 head employees, I'd like to welcome you to our third annual Looking Ahead. It takes us about 8 months to put this event on, and our goal here today is to provide you guys with rapid-fire sessions about what's happening in the industry, what's happening with Ahead, and what's happening with our partners. So today, I hope you find a lot of thought-leading content, opportunities to network. That's a big part of today. I want you guys to be able to network with your peers, our partners, and Ahead employees, and really use this day. We're all inundated with a lot of content day in, day out, whether it's online or seminars or conferences. But I want you guys to use this day as a really deep session to learn about what's happening. As Dan Lyons, our keynote speaker, said on Twitter yesterday, he was tweeting a little bit about the events. He said this is the Woodstock for our generation. And I hope it is, minus maybe some of the drugs and other extracurricular activities here. But we'll have to see how it all comes together at the end of the day. So last year we contended with the Blackhawks parade right down on Michigan Avenue, for those of you who were here. This year we had a little thunderstorm activity tonight, so I really appreciate everyone that was able to come here today. We've put a lot of effort into this, as I said, and I hope you guys find the content really great. So I would like to start with this little mantra that we put together. You know, we are all focused day to day on our jobs, and it's hard to kind of bubble up and think about what's going on in a broader context. So, you know, when I sat down and thought about what I would want to accomplish today, we're all really faced with a lot of pressure and change, and the change is up to us to deal with. And so today, this event, this day, is really about tomorrow. It's not about what we go and do when we walk into the office later today or tonight, or get online and work on a few emails or respond to a few tasks we have. We have to come here with an open mind. Too often, I think we all just kind of have our heads down and are thinking about what the next action in front of us is. And I really want people to step back. And I think when you see, and we go through the agenda in a little bit, I think you'll see that a lot of the speakers today will be talking about a really lot of great information and content. So come with an open mind today, and I think if you guys got our swag pack, which has some really cool stuff in it, we have this mantra kind of embedded on the outside, but come with an open mind and leave with a new mission. And that mission can be something personal about your career, could be something about a project you're working on, or something greater of purpose in your life. But I really want people to try to step back and think about what's new and what you guys want to accomplish today. So with that being said, I'd like to thank our clients. This isn't an exhaustive list, but many of you came from Illinois, locally, but also Wisconsin, Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, North Carolina, California, Kentucky, Ohio, many other places. And we really appreciate you guys taking the time to come out here and spend the day with us. We value the relationship that we have with you, and you guys, our clients, our prospects, you are the ones that inspire us on a daily basis to drive innovation and thought leadership, and hopefully help you guys make progress on key initiatives within your IT landscape. I'd also like to thank our sponsors. We couldn't put this day on without our help from our sponsors. We work very, very closely with our sponsors in a lot of different ways, and I'll talk about this a little bit later in the day. But we have, I think, over 35 sponsors here today on 2 different floors, and I'll go through some of the ways you can hit them and some fun things you can win by visiting and talking to these guys throughout the day. So with that being said, I want to spend a few minutes talking about the agenda. We have an epic lineup today. And each year, my goal is to raise the bar in terms of the speakers we have on stage, the format we use, and the content we talk about. So we want to put together a high-impact event every year that we put this on. We have a new venue this year, Harris Theater. I hope we can one day grow into the full capacity of this place. I think it seats 1,600 people. But we had over 600 people register for this event, about 150 to 200 partners, and as I said earlier, our 200 employees. So I want to dig a little bit into the lineup we have today in terms of speakers, what their background is, where they came from. I then want to talk about what's going on with AHEAD, where are we focused, what are we doing, talk about a few use cases and case studies of where we've helped customers recently, and then wrap up with some other kind of agenda-related items. So our keynote speaker, who probably many of you have heard of or seen online, and a lot of you have probably watched a show he's a part of, is Dan Lyons, author of, I looked a couple days ago, it's currently the #4 book on Amazon in business and technology. It was #1 when I bought it a few months back. But Dan was the technology editor at Newsweek. He's written for Time Magazine, New York Times, GQ, Vanity Fair. He was the author of the Fake Steve Jobs blog about 5 years ago, or a little more maybe. Had over 1 million subscribers to that. He was co-producer and writer for HBO's Silicon Valley for 2 seasons, which I'm sure many of you watch. And he's going to talk about culture and his adventure in startup land after being laid off from Newsweek after a long career in the publishing industry. And I think, for those of you who have read it, I think you'll know that Dan has a witty sense of humor, so I hope we all enjoy his session. But it's not only going to be about his adventure in startup land, but the cultural impact of technology and what's going on in the industry. And I think we all get very focused on the technology at times, but it's really about people and the culture and how we organize that's really critical to achieving our goals moving forward. After Dan, we're going to take a quick break, 20 minutes. I ask that people kind of come in, use the facilities, come back to see Jason Waxman, who's corporate vice president and general manager at Intel in the Data Center Solutions Group. So Jason was kind enough to come out here and speak with us today. He's been involved in all the activities with the hyperscale data center partners that Intel has, so the Googles, the Amazon, the Facebooks of the world. He led their high-density computing initiatives, joined Intel in 1997, and is also on the board of Open Compute. Open Compute was started by Facebook to open source and kind of democratize access to their high-density and unique compute and storage architectures. So we'll hear from Jason after the break. And then Dan Adamany, our CEO and founder, is going to lead a session with 3 of what I would call the predominant infrastructure. They also have consumer arms to them, but infrastructure venture capitalists in Silicon Valley. So he'll be joined by Krish, Bipul, and Tom from Lightspeed, Rubrik, and Greylock. So Bipul has an interesting story, and part of this, he was a partner at Lightspeed and then moved over as an operator and founder of Rubrik, who's a partner of ours. But these 2 companies have funded and grown some of the biggest names in the industry that we deal with on a daily basis. So if you think of Lightspeed, they've invested in AppDynamics and Avere and Delphix and Docker, MapR, Nutanix, Pernix, Tintri, and Greylock has done Arista, Cloudera, Delphix as well, Docker as well, Dropbox, Okta, Palo Alto, Sumo Logic, Pure Storage, and both Lightspeed and Greylock are both investors in Rubrik. So we want to talk about in this session, what do they see coming in their long horizon 3, 5-year horizons for an investment perspective. Chris joined, is a partner on the business services side from Lightspeed. He joined in 2011 from Box. Tom is COO of Greylock. And I think you're going to find this session really interesting. Both of these companies are also part of our VC briefing program. So what we have the luxury of doing is taking our clients out to Silicon Valley, curating a custom agenda for them, and in a day you can visit 8 to 10 startups that they've funded. And we've been doing this for several years now, and it's really eye-opening to sit down with people who just are being seeded from an investment perspective to companies that are just about to ship product to companies that have been shipping product for years. Both of these guys will be around throughout the day, so if you have questions, comments, want to talk more about a briefing, I would pull them aside. After the VC Roundtable, moderated by Dan, we have a customer, Eric Engel from Consumers Energy, coming up. I find the best way of learning and what our customers love to learn about most is how are other customers adopting technology? How are they making an impact? I'm going to talk a little bit about what we did with Consumers Energy out of Michigan in my deck a little later. But Eric's been with Consumers since 2010, and we worked very closely on Consumers Energy over the past year, and they have a really exciting journey of how they went from very long lead times to provisioning infrastructure and getting applications rolled out to a highly automated cloud infrastructure. Next, we have Jeff Barr. I think if you're an Amazon user or follow the ecosystem or have subscribed to the Amazon blog, you know Jeff Barr, and we're really lucky to have him here today. He's Chief Evangelist for Amazon Web Services. He has a long, long history of working at Amazon since 2002, and he's traveled the world talking about what Amazon's bringing to market today. And I think it's going to be a really a great session from Jeff. Containers are something that I think a lot of customers are asking about. We have Kapil Arya, a distributed systems engineer from Mesosphere. We want people to start learning and understanding about how containers and distributed workloads are being leveraged in the enterprise today. So this is a session that I hope customers walk away with, you walk away with, and have a deeper understanding of how you might leverage this technology in your enterprise. We also have 2 speakers from ahead. If you've come to this conference in the past, you've heard from Nick Collier, Practice Manager for Cloud Management and Automation. And he's going to take you through the journey that we've been driving within many of our customers in terms of deeper and deeper levels of sophistication around automation. So his session's called Putting Your Cloud on Autopilot. He's going to show various examples of what we've done in customer data centers, up in the cloud, hybrid use cases, and Nick's really a thought leader in our organization and been driving a lot of the solutions with our customers on a day-to-day basis. I think you'll find this session extremely interesting. And then it's the Nick and Nick show. So we have Nick Frank, who leads our end-user computing and mobility practice. Over the years, end-user computing, virtual desktops, virtualizing applications, it's been one of our longest-running solution areas to date. So we've been delivering, at scale, VDI and centralizing desktops for probably 5 or 6 years now. And today we're going to talk about the next evolution, delivering desktops as a service with Amazon Workspaces, which is a really, we believe, unique solution in the marketplace. And then finally, we're going to wrap up with yet another roundtable. This one's going to be led by Jason Nash. And we have Matt Smorto from Cisco Systems. Matt runs the data center engineering team for Cisco. He's been with Cisco since 1992 and was formerly with Chase and GE. So I think Cisco has their new HyperFlex product out, and we're going to hear from him on that. And then we have Chad Sakich, who is now president of the EMC Converged Platforms Division, or VCE. And then we also have Dheeraj Pandey, who is the co-founder and CEO of Nutanix. We love doing these roundtables because you never know what's going to happen. And I think the personalities are part of it. The basically really off-the-cuff kind of rapid-fire commentary back and forth is critical. We're going to try to, if time permits, open this up for Q&A as well. So that's our agenda today. We have lunch outside on the rooftop deck. There's a tent there. We'll have cocktails and after-hours reception when the conference is over. And I would definitely encourage everyone to visit the partner pavilion throughout the day and talk with our partners. So with that being said, I want to give everyone a little bit of a glimpse into what we've been up to the past year and how we've been working with our customers. And I think if I look at the world today, and I've put some of these icons and pieces of these slides up in the past, every layer of the stack is being disrupted today. We have cheap and plentiful infrastructure as a service and platform as a service. I've talked about that in the past. SaaS, infiltrating the enterprise in a good way, but taking away commodity-type applications. Open source and the fact that APIs connect everything together has been a real disruptor for many organizations. And the fact that we're pulling talent from across the globe, and we really want to go where the best people are and the best sources of knowledge are. On top of this, I talked a little bit about the people side of things. We have to deal with how all these changes in technology impact the organization. We have process changes that get impacted by this, financial and business model changes that are infiltrating and disrupting us day in, day out. So these market dynamics are the challenges that we all have to deal with. They impact how we go to market. A head goes to market from a business perspective, how our clients and partners go to market. And this is really what keeps me up at night, keeps our organization up at night. These challenges day in, day out are what we all have to think about and continue to figure out how to invest in the right people, the right solutions to move the ball forward. So ahead has really, if I look at us over the past 5-6 years, we've embarked on a deliberate model for continuous investment. We have to continue to invest in the things we bring to market. And I kind of look at the investment categories in several different buckets. Personally, the culture at Ahead is one where we're typically never satisfied of what we have on the table today, and we're always trying to think of what solution do we need to bring to market today? What talent do we need to build or acquire today? And so when I look at the key buckets of investment, the first one is people. We're a services-based business, and our goal is to continually invest in the training and certification of our engineers and the talent pool we have at Ahead. And it's not just attending a WebEx or looking at a PowerPoint or a PDF. This is deep hands-on education that is critical to us and our employees. And this is a foundational element, whether people want to go to training, conferences, spin up things in our lab. We truly believe that we want the deepest, most well-educated staff of engineers in the industry. The Ahead Lab, sometimes referred to, and you'll hear this term, Ahead Aviation, and I'll talk about Ahead Aviation in a second, but the Ahead Lab is really a 6-year, multi-million-dollar investment for us. For those of you who have been to our office here, you'll see that this is probably, I think we're now 12 racks of equipment, but it's really not about the quantity. It's about the fact that on a constant basis, we're refreshing this lab in terms of what's in it, the solutions that are built upon it, and how our customers and prospects can make use of it. We want to know the good, bad, and ugly about the solutions we're building and the products we're looking at. We want to dig into these products and understand if they're right for you. And so we probably have on a weekly basis, probably a dozen companies come to us asking to put their solution in the lab. But we're using this as kind of a proving ground to understand how the technology works, give feedback to the management teams often of these early startups, and then even giving feedback to the investors many times. So our goal is to use this lab, and for you to use this lab. It's open to our customers. Some use it for a day or two to get comfortable with a piece of technology before they buy it. Some come for a week and want to really stay and dig in. And I'd encourage you, if you haven't used what's in the lab, to come by and see what we have to offer. Ahead Aviation is a fictitious company. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more, but we needed a story. We needed to build use cases and demos around a company. And we have this fictitious airline, and I'll talk about some of the applications and use cases we've built in here. And at our booth, you can see some of the demos that we've built recently live. But Ahead Aviation is the fictitious company that we leverage in the lab to build a lot of the solutions out. A lot of what we do in the lab then leads to our partnerships. And I talked about the 35+ partners we have here today. But our partnerships are deep at a local level in all the geographies that we cover, and also back at a corporate level. We want to know what's going on from a roadmap perspective. We want to make sure we're partnering with the right people to build the right solutions. So this is a key area of focus that we have a huge team of people focused in, day out, in maintaining, building these partnerships with you, our customers, and us back at Ahead. And then finally, two areas that are really critical are, one, thought leadership events like today. So we put on this as our biggest event of the year, but we also do regional conferences and events at a local level. And then most importantly, it's the investment in service and solution development. All the work from education to the work in the lab to the partnerships all culminates in us building new solutions to bring to market for you. And at any given time, we probably have 3 to 5 groups of solutions in some phase of development. And a bit later, I'll show you some of the ones we've built this year. But if you've taken advantage of any of our consulting offerings, you've used what we call the Ahead Innovation Framework. And this is really a key into how we engage with our customers. So the Ahead Innovation Framework was a way for us to standardize a proven process of accelerating the delivery of high-quality results and outcomes at every stage of your journey. So no matter what the solution we're working on, whether it's something in the cloud infrastructure, mobility, enterprise service management space, we can engage. Maybe you need a strategy and roadmap. Maybe you have a strategy and roadmap already, and you just need a design and a plan. This is how we work with you and give you the capability to drive deep collaboration within your organization, accelerate time to value, and continuously innovate. So a lot of you have taken advantage of our consulting offerings, and the Ahead Innovation Framework is how we've built these independent of the technology or solution we're working towards. And when I look at the market, those drivers and disruptors that we talked about earlier, not to use kind of the overloaded journey concept, but every one of our customers and prospects, at every account I walk into today, typically is trying to rationalize 3 key things. What's their application strategy? So how do they modernize and build the next generation of applications to differentiate their business and make sure they don't fall behind? How do they take advantage of the cloud? What's the right place to put a workload? Should it be on-prem? Should it be in the public cloud? How do I build the right governance and architecture around that? And finally, probably the hardest and most important aspect of what all of you are trying to do is the organizational alignment around these initiatives. And this is something that everyone wants to know and figure out, and we're going to talk a lot about this today. Dan's going to talk about it a little bit in his session. Nick Collier is going to talk about what it means to be a cloud engineer or full stack engineer or one of the other dozen names that get floated around. But these initiatives today are really driving many of the activities that our clients are dealing with. And about 18 to 24 months ago, we started to see a pattern from every one of our clients. They started asking, where do I start building? What should I build? How do I address those disruptive challenges? What should my roadmap look like? How do we build teams? And ultimately, customers were asking for a blueprint for success. And these blueprints are unique to you. It's not a one-size-fits-all. And to address this challenge, we had to sit down and really codify the building blocks of what we felt most organizations needed to ultimately be competitive and deliver a rich set of applications and services back to the business. And ultimately, this is what we call the cloud delivery platform. And today I'm going to go through a few examples of what the cloud delivery platform is. But this is building key solutions back to the business so that you guys can innovate more rapidly, deliver value more rapidly, and stay competitive. So when you look at the cloud delivery platform, this is it broken out in more detail. We believe every organization needs an enterprise service management layer that takes care of things like IT automation, business process automation, portfolio management, content management, and performance analytics. We have a great partner here today, ServiceNow, that helps us in a lot of these areas, AppDynamics as well. But how do you build and run IT as a business? Once you figure that out, we also believe that every organization needs to automate and needs to have a cloud management strategy as a part of that. So when we look at what should your cloud management platform be, how do you deal with configuration management and automation and orchestration? Will you use containers? How do you manage the life cycle of these workloads? And all of this is integrated through APIs and extensibility that we need to be comfortable and familiar with taking advantage of. Mobility today is just not about a desktop. It's about mobile devices. It's about enterprise file sync and share. It's about taking advantage and making the end user more productive on a day-to-day basis. As I talked about earlier, we have a ton of rich history in there. And then the data center infrastructure. This is our core DNA that we've been doing since day one. And whether you're taking advantage of the public cloud, hyper-converged or converged infrastructure in your own data center or in one of your service providers, the whole network storage and data protection landscape, this is what we know cold, and that we feel that in order to have a successful platform as an enterprise, you need to have a strategy at this layer for building the best of breed set of data center infrastructure. And at the end of the day, this is all meant to simplify IT, accelerate your capability of delivering services back to the business, and increasing transparency. So doesn't mean that every customer and every use case, you're going to fill in every one of these blocks or bubbles, but we feel most organizations are going to have many of these components in place over the next several years. And our job as a head is really integrating and stitching this all together, leveraging our knowledge of the platforms, because this isn't one product, it's not a SKU, you can't go buy this off the shelf, it's custom to your organization based on what you need. So I'd like to quickly go over 6 examples of where we've helped customers with either broad-based implementation of CDP or specific use cases on their way to a broader adoption of the CDP. I don't want to steal Eric's thunder when he comes out later, but Consumers Energy has been working with us for a while. We engaged with them using the AHEAD Innovation Framework with a cloud strategy roadmap design and plan. We help them deploy vRealize automation, vRealize orchestrator with Puppet and GitHub as their source code repository. And they built some very interesting use cases for their Linux, Windows, and SQL Server environments. And I'll let Eric tell you about some of the key productivity gains that they made at consumers. One of the things that consumers did extremely well, and I think Eric's going to talk about in depth, is how they marketed what they did internally. I think that's really critical, and I'll hit on that in a little bit as well. Next use case was in the mobility category. We helped Jones Lang LaSalle, who does a lot of acquisitions. Jones Lang LaSalle is the second largest property management firm in the world. And they perform a lot of acquisitions, have a lot of contractors, a lot of project-based work, and they didn't want to give those end users physical desktops or laptops. So we worked with them and deployed Amazon Workspaces at JLL. It supports developers overseas as well as contractors. And we also built a consolidated billing solution with custom tagging so they could do chargeback to individual business units and groups. And so this has been a way for them to centralize the use of desktops with a very granular variable cost component to the solution. We worked with a financial institution here in Chicago on their cloud strategy roadmap design and plan. This solution was built around UCS Director for automating both physical and virtual server and networking resources. They leveraged Puppet for configuration management as well. And their whole goal was faster self-service to improve their time to market and increase productivity. And I hope you guys see the trend here is that each of these, as I go through these, and as you talk to other customers and people within AHEAD today, each of these looks quite different. And that's really the point today, is that when we come in and we sit down with you and you go through a strategy and roadmap engagement with us or a design and plan, and we help architect collaboratively our solutions, it's all about what's right for you. We believe that there are certain products and solutions out there today that make a lot of sense, and we're not going to be wide on everything. But when we look at these solutions, they're custom for your organization based on what you need. Kemper was another company here in Chicago that we worked with, insurance company. And here we helped them define their cloud use cases, did their cloud fabric design, put in a governance framework for how this should work in their organization, including security and controls, how service delivery should work. This was built on VMware's vRealize platform as well, but it also included an Amazon Web Services component where we did the whole VPC design, identity and access management design, and help them understand how to structure their cloud team. Cars.com, another local Chicago customer, they had their Amazon Web Services strategy baked. They brought us in to validate it. So again, how do we look at VPC design, IAM, security? And then we worked with them and built a provisioning service on Linux for Linux workloads using CloudFormation templates in the AWS Service Catalog. And then we used Lambda, which is a relatively newer service from AWS, to provide some governance around instances. One of the biggest things we work with customers on in the public cloud space is how do I maintain cost and control of cost in cloud. So Cars.com is doing consolidated billing where we look at multiple accounts of theirs and how to make sure they're right-sized and leveraging the right resources and looking at the right cost profile. Finally, I'll talk about AHEAD Aviation one more time. So AHEAD Aviation, as I mentioned, is our fictitious company. So today, in several of the discussions from Nick, as well as out at our booth, you're going to see a lot of different use cases that we've built around the AHEAD Aviation concept. The biggest one you're going to see is we've built a custom ServiceNow portal where you can provision Amazon Workspaces. So how do I onboard new users? That's one very interesting use case that a lot of organizations are interested in. But we've also built this track your bag application. So think of this as like UPS tracking for your bag with your barcode. And our engineers have built a full CI/CD pipeline. So everything from how I develop my code to how it goes through QA, test, and ultimately deploying that code into production. And we've built this bag app in multiple different environments. So it sits on VMware, it can sit on AWS, and in either a pure PaaS or a partial PaaS architecture. And then we've also have it in our lab using multiple cloud management platforms. So Clicker, UCS Director, ServiceNow for deployment. We want to provide options to show you the differences of how all these platforms work. And we'll also show you in these demos how we've integrated with things like App Dynamics for application performance management. When we scale up and scale down this application, we integrate it back to ServiceNow for full configuration, or I should say change management records. One of the other interesting things some of our engineers did, and I brought one of these on stage, I don't know if you guys have seen these, Amazon released these IoT buttons that are programmable. So they have a demo out in the lobby where you can press this button and it'll kill part of the stack that's running the bag app in the cloud. And so this kind of is meant to play chaos with our developers and show them, they have to build architectures and designs that are fault tolerant and across multiple availability zones. But all this stuff, the point is all this stuff is just connected with APIs. And whether we're talking about the push of a button, and we've worked with and talked with many customers who are building Internet of Things and leveraging sensors and other devices, this stuff isn't out of reach today. This stuff can be used whether you're playing games with your developers or you're hopefully architecting solutions for real-world use cases. Check out what they've done. It's really interesting. You'll see it at our booth. But ahead of aviation is our way to test things, prove things out, and work on multiple ways of deploying them so we can work with you to understand what makes sense and what doesn't. So, those are some quick examples of how customers have done broad work with the CDP or, compartmentalized work. But what I want to really talk about is what the CDP is not. It's not a SKU. Someone can't come to us and just say, give me a cloud, give me CDP. It's something that isn't cookie cutter. This is something that when we work with our customers to design a strategy for mobility or for cloud or for your data center infrastructure, this is custom to your organization. And I think that's really critical. A lot of organizations want to come to you with something in a box or, it's 30 minutes to start up. And our experience is a lot of those solutions will fail. This isn't something you can do without a strategy. Spend the time, invest in strategy. Whether you do it by yourself or leverage a partner, you need a well-baked strategy to put in the infrastructure and services that are going to get you to the right place over the next couple of years. This isn't something a single vendor can provide you. Right? This is the combination of us pulling together services, solutions, talent from multiple different places. And it's not static in nature. We're going to change what's in the CDP based on needs over time. Needs from the industry, needs from clients, needs from our partners. So this is kind of going to the investments and the work we've been doing for years. This is really a summary of the new solutions we've recently come out with. So in the service management space, design, plan, deploy for performance analytics, content management. We're doing a lot of custom app work today in the ServiceNow platform, as well as we have a pseudo-managed service called the Ahead Optimization Service, which helps our customers maintain their ServiceNow environment. And we have a lot of new services in the public cloud space, leveraging Amazon, Azure, but strategy, roadmap, and design, a head start which is a very condensed service offering for DevOps. This is how do I get started with maybe configuration management with a Puppet or Chef. The ahead optimization service, so once I deploy my cloud infrastructure, how do I maintain it over time? I talked about desktop as a service and consolidated billing earlier. And then many of our customers are adopting hyper-converged architectures. So how do I get started? How do I architect those solutions really quickly? We also have some new services around software-defined networking. So for those of you that are looking at technologies like NSX or Cisco ACI, we have a very nice offering that helps you navigate where to use that technology and in what situation. I want to talk about some lessons learned because that's a common theme these days is what have we learned from these engagements when customers have come out the end of putting a lot of these services in production? And how do I not make those same mistakes is a very key question that a lot of customers ask. First, it starts with the people, and you have to find passionate people in your organization. And as I talked about, we can't underestimate the organizational impact that a lot of these new initiatives and disruptive technologies cause. Second, we need to build consensus on the strategy. That's one of the things that our workshop-based approach, when we do a strategy and roadmap or design and plan engagement with a customer, really does well, is it gets everyone in the room and helps them build consensus on a particular topic. Communication is big, and I think Eric's going to hit this in how they did this at Consumers Energy, but you guys have to figure out how to market the projects you're doing, the services you're billing back to the business and back to IT in general. There isn't enough marketing done these days internally, and this is a key point that I want everyone to take home today, is that we need to be marketing the things we're doing heavily. These will help spur adoption, get feedback. So think about how you market. How do you pull maybe someone in from your marketing team to help you put posters around the office, have a launch party? And Eric will communicate how he did that at Consumers Energy. I think we all know and have figured out that technology is the easy part. We can all make technology decisions. We've been doing it for years. Don't focus too much on the technology. It's about the broader solution and the results we achieve at the end of the day. And don't reinvent the wheel. There's a ton of IP out there that you can leverage, whether it's in the open source community. We have a ton of IP in terms of orchestrator work, Puppet modules, manifests that you can use to really accelerate the work that you need to accomplish. I'd also say look for a partner on the business side. And this goes hand in hand with my next point, which is small incremental progress wins over a big bang release. A lot of people want to, I think the days of taking 9 months to release a solution and put something out there are over. We need a partner on the business side who wants to innovate quickly and build a solution. And how do we do that quickly and rapidly iterate on innovation? So these are just some of the lessons we've learned over the past couple of years and how we look at the world and how we want you guys to think about looking at finding success in many of the initiatives that you take away today. So I'm going to reiterate one more time the little manifesto I put up. Change is upon us. Today is about tomorrow. Let's really think about where we want to take our organizations, what key initiatives we have out there. Come here with an open mind. It's not, today's about learning. Don't discard something that you haven't put the time into research. Talk to your peers, talk to our partners, talk to head employees about things that you're curious about, and leave with that new mission, personally, for your team, for your organization, whatever it may be. And talk to us. Schedule an EBC, talk to your head sales or technical resource. Take a picture of my phone number, email, reach out to me, call me. I'd be happy to talk to you about how we're working with a lot of clients in depth, but we've got a lot of knowledge, a lot of history working in these spaces, and we want you to feel like you can call us and work with us and get our advice and input on these projects.